The film opens with a woman named Ramona watching a video of her late husband, narrating to us, the viewers, that he had a dream, that their house was finally finished, the decorating was complete, the barn was full, and the yard was covered in those flowers she loved, which were irises, and they were everywhere. Life was good, but the only thing left was a name. However, Ramona is of the opinion that every farm doesn't need a name. Apparently, he was talking about the home they lived in, and how he wanted to give it a name. Just then, her son named Tay arrived to inform her that the power was out, so she needed to call the electric company for help. At that moment, we find out that Ramona is crippled from a car accident that killed David, but she is now able to help herself out of bed on her own. Ramona approached her daughter, who was busy enjoying her storybook. Later on, they all sat down to eat breakfast, and just then, she informed Tay that she couldn't call a power company since her phone was now dead. Just then, their dog named Charlie came in and began to vomit. It was revealed that Tay had fed him food instead of the usual dog food since they didn't have much. So Ramona asked Tay to put Charlie on his chain. Afterwards, Ramona was informed that there was a woman in the yard, so she quickly went to check through the window. Tay was of the opinion that maybe she was dead, but Ramona believed she might just be lost. So Ramona decided to go speak to the mysterious woman, but Charlie kept on barking seriously. On the other hand, Tay comforted his sister, saying everything would be just fine. Once Ramona got closer to the mysterious woman, trying to figure out if she needed help, the woman asked, "How did I get here?" before asking Ramona what her name was. After a short conversation between them, the mysterious woman's tone became sinister and menacing. She knew Ramona by name and was aware of the circumstances of her injury. She told Ramona, "Today is the day," so immediately Ramona warned her to get off her property unless she would call the police. But the mysterious woman yet again informed her that today is the day you call, and I just answered, before showing her blood-stained palms. Quickly, Ramona ran back to one of her vehicles to try to charge her dead phone, but nothing seemed to be working. Tay, on the other hand, wondered what his mom was doing. The mysterious woman then did something unexplainable to Charlie. Once Ramona got back into the house, she tried to make sure the kids didn't go near the woman. But Tay wasn't understanding any of this, as he questioned how she got to their yard and why she was all dressed in a mysterious way. Tay was of the opinion that Ramona should get their dad's gun to chase her away, but Ramona furiously smashed a glass cup in frustration before asking Tay to go to his room. However, Ramona goes to meet Tay, trying to apologize for her aggressive behavior earlier, but just then Annie informs them that she thinks the woman is getting closer to their house. But they just seem to ignore the mysterious woman. Later that evening, Ramona begins to check the sewing of her injuries and pulls a thread out of it. At that moment, Ramona realizes that this mysterious woman is now getting closer to them. So when Ramona heads out to check up on Charlie, she can't find him. Ramona walks closer to get a better view, only to find his chains under the ground. So quickly, she tries pulling the chains out of the ground, but unfortunately, nothing is found on it. At this exact moment, Tay wakes up, and it seems nothing has actually happened. So Tay informs his mom that they should drive to their neighbor's house to use their phone to call the cops, but Ramona refuses, insisting that he is too young to drive. He later tells Ramona that he can simply walk to their house, but yet again she refuses to let him. So Tay calls her a bitch before proceeding to throw the little tennis ball in his hand. So Ramona takes her knife, but in a plot twist, she just grabs the ball and throws them outside before yelling at Annie, who is doing her homework incorrectly. This scares Annie, so Ramona apologized to her for her strict behavior, but as the two hug it out, Ramona uses the knife from earlier to stab her, but it was just a pillow on the receiving end. However, on the other hand, Annie is seriously injured. Taylor goes outside to confront the woman with a weapon, but sadly, he can't find Charlie. Quickly, Tay runs into their garage to get into the vehicle, but unfortunately, it isn't starting. However, the mysterious woman isn't in her seat anymore, and a loud noise is heard, so Tay in fear tries to attack her, but unfortunately, it is just Ramona. Once Taylor gets back into the house, he questions his mom about who the woman is and what else Ramona isn't telling them. Yet again, Ramona throws something at Taylor. So in anger, Taylor goes into his dad's safe, trying to get his gun, which he eventually does. Meanwhile, Ramona continues to yell his name, so Taylor locks her in a room before approaching the old lady. He points his gun straight at the weird woman with a countdown of 10. At that exact moment, she gets up from her seat and starts walking towards the house, before then revealing her face. She tells Taylor that Ramona is not telling him and Annie the whole truth about what happened the night their father died. After Ramona gets Annie to come back to her, Taylor asks Annie to go to him instead since he now doesn't trust Ramona. He then orders Ramona to tell the truth about what happened the night that David died. In a flashback, Ramona and David went out for dinner. She expresses disillusionment with the place that they moved to, and how she feels that she has to do everything for everyone and cannot focus on her needs and priorities. Ramona drove the car home while she and David were arguing, and since she wasn't looking at the road, she caused the car accident. She confesses the truth to her kids, who now have their trust in their mother shattered. Unfortunately, the woman appears in their house using her shadow. In fear, Annie screamed very loudly. So quickly, Tay and Ramona rush to the seating room, only to find everything in a mess, as she sent the furniture flying all over the place. Ramona gets the kids to hide upstairs in the attic, where it seems that the woman is following them. She envelopes the house in darkness and reveals her scarred face to the children. They covered the windows in order to make it completely dark, and while they held each other, the mysterious woman began to create chaos in a bid to scare them. Although Taylor is hidden, the woman starts to make her way towards Annie, claiming she would never hurt her and just wants to take Annie home. And once she was done, Annie was nowhere to be found. Taylor and Ramona began to look for Annie, as they could only hear her voice at that moment. The scene transitions to Ramona discussing with her husband about their home and how life was beautiful. Unfortunately, Ramona realized everything seemed backwards just as she tried to figure out what was wrong. David began to strangle her from behind. The scene then shifts to make it seem like Ramona is now in the position of the woman, going back to when Ramona herself came out to ask her who she was, with Ramona being the one to ask, "How did I get here?" It goes back to the attic, where Ramona is the one trying to get Annie to go with her, and trying to reassure her that everything is okay. Back in the present time, Annie is still with them, but now she is very scared of her mom, as her shadow shows a different thing. So when she gets close to Annie, she slumped before having the same flashback of the blood in the mysterious woman's hands. Annie eventually regained consciousness, so immediately, Ramona sends Taylor and Annie away from the house for their safety. So Ramona eventually confronts the woman and tries to make a deal to protect the children. But while it seems that the woman is going to force Ramona to unalive herself with a rifle, the woman reveals that she appeared because Ramona had been praying for strength to take care of the kids on her own. However, the children came back for their mother, and yet again Ramona asked them to leave the house, so Annie then gave her mom her teddy to keep her safe. Once Ramona was now alone, she placed the gun right under her throat. However, Ramona regained the willpower to live again, making the woman disappear. The children made their way back to the house and found Ramona, where she embraces them. Just then, the lights go back on in the house, which the family celebrates as Charlie was actually not dead either. The scene shifts to a painting that appears to depict the woman's face, along with Ramona's name written backwards at the bottom, with Ramona's husband's voice saying, "He had the most amazing dream." The movie then came to an end. Kindly subscribe for more movie recaps like this. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.